In this video, I'm going to show you how you can start building muscle with as little as 10 minutes per day and no equipment.
Come on.
Okay, that's not it, but it's actually part of the equation, which I'll get to later in the video. Now, I often hear people say they neglect their physical fitness because they don't have time or equipment, and truthfully, that was me for a while as well. Well, if that's you, then you need to stick around, and hopefully I can change your perspective and hopefully inspire you to start today. In this video, I'm going to break down the key concepts required for building muscle with minimal time and equipment, and help you understand just how little is required to stimulate muscle growth, as well as give specific examples of exercises for each body part that can be done with little or no equipment and still make you progress. Not only does it not have to take long, but it can be fun for the whole family. If you don't have kids or your partner is just not on board with this, don't worry, you can do all of these with body weight or things found around the home if you don't have any dumbbells. So just how much do you really have to do to stimulate muscle growth? Well, studies have shown that the optimal number of sets per muscle group per week is in the range of 10 to 20 for optimal muscle growth. But you don't have to do that much, and you can definitely get results with less. And it's not a linear relationship, it's actually on a curve. So as you get to the higher work, the amount of extra benefit you get from doing more flattens off. So you can push yourself down to even half the effort and still get a majority of the benefit. One of the keys though, if you're doing less volume, is that you have to put in more effort. Some studies have shown that the minimal effective dose for growing muscle is 4 sets per week per muscle group. But there's even some studies suggesting that one really intense set doing multiple successive drop sets can even produce muscle growth. If you really want to reduce the amount of time spent in the gym, you have to increase the amount of effort that you put into each workout. So 3 or 4 sets, that's all every week per muscle group. 4 sets can be done in under 10 minutes. Which means if you want to focus on a different muscle group every day, you only need to work out for 10 minutes or less. For more examples on splits and routines, check out this video, whichever corner that's in, for more information. Many exercises can be done with body weight, but you can also use heavy things around the house or simply fill a backpack or a bag with water or heavy books and use that for your exercises. Eventually, body weight or light weights is hard to progressively overload, so you're going to need to employ more advanced overload techniques. When I first got my dumbbells, they were a gift, and I got the set from 5 pounds all the way up to 25 pounds. And then a little bit later, I added in the 35s and the 60s because pretty quickly I outgrew for bench and for chest. Then I got the 60 pounds. And at first that was really challenging for bench press. But after a couple months or so, it became very easy. When you have limited or no equipment, you can't always simply increase the weight. And at a certain point, doing more reps is time consuming and ineffective. So we need to implement more advanced overload strategies. In this clip, I dropped from using 60-pound dumbbells to 35-pound dumbbells, and it was still a very challenging set. There are several ways of doing this. The first was changing the workout. So flat bench is a little bit easier to do with higher weights. So once I was comfortable with that, I went to incline bench and worked up to the 60 pounds as well, which not only targets the upper chest more than flat bench, but studies have shown that it equally targets the middle and lower chest as flat bench does. So once you've done that, there's other things you can do, which you can notice in this clip, where if you slow down the movement and take a pause at the very bottom stretched range, you can increase the tension of the exercise, and it becomes a lot more difficult even with less weight. What you can also do is not do a full rep, because when you lock out your elbows, you're kind of getting a break in your chest. And so if you don't go all the way up and lock out, you're going to have more tension throughout the entire workout, and it's going to make it much more challenging. Now we come to the flexion portion, which I alluded to earlier. There is some evidence that doing these static or isometric contractions between sets can help to increase the overall tension on the muscles and make a workout more effective even with lower weight or load. You can also do shorter rest periods between your exercises. There are also ways to use resistance bands for all the exercises we're going to discuss today, and you can use them as the main exercise or to make a bodyweight exercise more challenging. And if you want a specific video on that, let me know. But for this video, from now on, we're going to be focusing on things you can do with absolutely no dumbbells and no resistance bands. But the techniques discussed already are very important to carry forward into these exercises. So let's start with legs. You can do bodyweight squats. If that's too easy, you can find anything heavy around the house really and hold that to do squats. You could do some jump squats to work on power and give your legs a bit of a quicker burn. You can do some reverse lunges and then driving your knee up forward, making sure you're squeezing your glutes in behind you, which you can also do weighted. And of course, you'd have to do that for each side. So you're doing kind of twice as many workouts. If you keep your shoulders up and your body more straight up and down, you're going to work more of your quads in any sort of squatting motion. If you have your chest tilted forward a little bit and an anterior tilt of your pelvis, you're going to be working more of the posterior chain, so you can get more hamstrings into the mix with those types of movements. You can also do the Bulgarian split squat, having your leg elevated up behind you, which is a great one to do as well. That can also be done with some sort of weight or a backpack full of water, whatever it is you're using for that additional resistance. For glutes, if you want something specific to work on that, you can rest your back on any elevated surface like a couch, a chair, whatever it may be, and then do these kind of glute bridges, thrusting your pelvis upwards. You want to make sure that both sides of your hips are level at all times. You don't want one side to drop and sag down. And if you feel like you need something specific to target your hamstrings, you can find a couch or something to lock your legs down. I can't quite get my heels underneath this couch, unfortunately, so it made it a little bit more challenging. You can have somebody sitting on your legs as well, or holding them down if they're heavy enough. And then basically what you want to do is resist as much as possible on the way down and then catch yourself and then give yourself just enough of a push to get yourself up there with your hamstrings. Now, for back, if you have access to a pull-up bar, which is a cheap and easy investment if you can put one in a doorway. Unfortunately, I can't because of my door frames, so I had to get one of these. But pull-ups and chin-ups with your hands kind of reverse grip are a great way to work on back, and the pull-up or the chin-ups are also going to do some good work on the biceps. Now, since we're already on our bar, you can do some hanging ab raises, making sure you're focusing on tilting your pelvis up with your legs, not just bending your legs at the hip flexors. And that can be a great exercise for your abs, but there's tons of different options for ab workouts that don't require any equipment at all. Now, to finish up with the back exercises, if you can get under a table or a desk of some sort, you can do rows, bodyweight rows. And again, if you have a backpack, a weighted backpack or something you can put on your back or strap it across your front, you can increase the difficulty of these. And then if you want something else specific for biceps, we can turn ourselves the other direction and adjust your position in a way that you can get a good contraction under the table with your biceps and focus on the bicep contraction rather than the back. And the nice part is you're going to be doing most of the effort in the lengthened position, which is what we prefer. And of course, if you have a weighted backpack or a bag of any sort, you can do one-handed or two-handed bicep curls, depending on how heavy the weighted object that you're using is. And now we're going to move quickly on to triceps. Any sort of overhead extension, one hand with a backpack can work very well, or laying down flat on a bench can work well. If you have any sort of surface that you can do a dip on, that can be really good for isolating your triceps. And again, you can strap a backpack on across the front to increase the resistance there, or you can do diamond push-ups like this to focus more on the triceps as well. And if you can put two chairs next to each other, you can do dips as well, or if you have a dip bar, anything that you can dip yourself between can work well. Now, since we're in the push-up position, we're going to go on to push-ups for chest. Push-ups are an amazing workout for the chest, and it just takes different variations to do what you're focusing on. Now, if you find push-ups too easy overall, you can start off with more of a power push-up to get raised off the ground, and that will give your chest an initial fatigue. And then if you find regular push-ups too easy, or perhaps you just want to focus more on the upper chest, these are a fantastic option because they are a bit more challenging, so you don't need as much weight to increase the burden on your chest. And some research shows that these types of movements focusing on the upper chest more actually target the middle and lower chest just as much. Now, if all of this is still too easy for you, you can try more of an archer push-up variation, which is, in this aspect, your arms are farther apart and then you're shifting from side to side. And this is going to put a lot more burden on one side of the chest at a time, so that your body weight is being focused more into one side. And then if all of this is too easy, you can elevate where your hands are resting, so it allows a deeper stretch of the chest muscles. And evidence is showing that the stretch is very important in activation and muscle growth. So getting that additional stretch can really increase the tension and potential for muscle growth. It also is great to slow down the motion, and then at the end, focus on long length partials, because this may be a superior form of exercise to stimulate muscle growth, and it helps to really burn out at the end. Now, moving on to shoulders, you can do a pike push-up. This is putting more weight onto the shoulders and allowing you to really get a good burn in the shoulders and a good squeeze. And the angle that you put yourself will directly correlate with the weight that you are pushing through the shoulders. So if you elevate your feet on a surface, it's going to make that much more challenging. And if that becomes easy for you, even with a weight on your back or a backpack, you can put your feet up against the wall and do it more vertically. And then of course, another option is lateral raises, which you can do with really any object depending on the weight that you need. And I was actually quite impressed with the pump I was able to get with just these simple home workouts. So that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, drop a comment. If you're interested in seeing more from me, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And let me know if there's other types of videos like this that you'd like to see, any more specific things, or have some questions that you want me to address. Please let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next video.